The phone rang at 11:43 p.m. on a Tuesday night. I was in my home office reviewing reports for my construction company when the unknown number appeared on the screen. Mr. Joseph Reynolds? This is Kevin Martinez, the videographer for your daughter Amanda's wedding last month. I need to speak with you urgently about something I found in the recordings. It's very serious. The young man's voice was shaking. My hand tightened around the phone. What do you mean serious? Sir, I can't explain over the phone. Can we meet tomorrow? Please come alone and don't say anything to Amanda yet. My stomach dropped. I had spent $58,000 on my eldest daughter's wedding 3 weeks ago. The perfect ceremony, the elegant reception, everything exactly as Amanda wanted. What kind of thing did you find? Recordings that change everything about that day. I almost deleted them by accident, but when I saw what I had captured, his voice faltered. Mr. Reynolds, you need to see this. My name is Joseph Reynolds, 65 years old, owner of Reynolds Construction Company here in Phoenix, Arizona. I built my company from the ground up over 40 years. 3 children, Amanda being the oldest and my pride and joy. At least that's what I thought. Kevin, it's 2 in the morning. Can't it wait? Sir, I've tried to sleep for 3 nights in a row and I can't. I'm editing the videos to deliver the final material when I discovered something that happened during the party. Something no one saw, but my cameras captured. I got up from my office chair and walked to the window. Outside, Phoenix slept peacefully under the yellow lights of the city. My house in the upscale neighborhood of Paradise Valley was silent. Amanda lived 20 minutes away with her husband Derek, probably sleeping peacefully after their honeymoon in Hawaii. Get to the point. Kevin sighed deeply. Derek, the groom. I have recordings of him with another woman during the reception. Not an innocent conversation, Mr. Reynolds. They were intimately involved while your daughter was dancing with the guests. The world stopped. The words echoed in my mind like an echo in an empty canyon. Derek Mitchell, the son-in-law I had learned to respect. The young investment banker who had won over my daughter and our family's approval. Are you sure about what you're saying? Unfortunately, yes. The recordings are crystal clear. Timestamp, multiple angles. There's no doubt about it. My right leg began to shake slightly. I sat on the edge of the bed. During the party, I had noticed Derek leaving several times, always with convincing excuses. Important work calls, he said. Emergencies that couldn't wait. Who is the woman? I don't know her name, but she was wearing a wedding ring. And from the recordings, it's clear they've known each other for a long time. It wasn't something spontaneous. If you're interested in this story of family betrayal, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to find out how this devastating discovery turned into the most calculated revenge you've ever seen. I hung up the phone and stood in the darkness of my room. $58,000. 400 guests. Amanda radiant at the altar. And Derek cheating on her in the wedding recordings themselves. But there was something else. A strange feeling that this discovery was just the tip of the iceberg of a much darker truth about my family. The next morning, I drove to Kevin's studio in downtown Phoenix. The address he had given me was in a modern business complex, nothing like what I expected from a young freelance videographer. The studio was professional, equipped with high-resolution monitors and expensive equipment. Kevin greeted me at the door. He was in his early 20s, with a neatly trimmed beard and tired eyes that showed he hadn't slept in days. His hands trembled slightly as he shook mine. Mr. Reynolds, thank you for coming. Please, have a seat. He pointed to a leather armchair in front of a giant monitor. The screen was black, but I could feel the weight of what I was about to see. Before I show you the recordings, Kevin said, sitting down next to the controls, I need to explain how I discovered this. I always record with multiple cameras during receptions. It's standard protocol. 1 fixed on the altar, 1 mobile with me, and 2 remote cameras that capture general angles. He paused, rubbing his temples. I had positioned one of these remote cameras in the side garden of the venue to capture images of the party outside. I thought it would be nice to have some outside shots of the guests relaxing, you know? My stomach tightened as he spoke. The camera recorded for 4 continuous hours. When I started editing the footage last week, I noticed movement in that area during specific moments of the party. Movement that shouldn't have been there, because that part of the garden was technically closed to guests. Kevin turned on the monitor. The first images showed the reception from an angle I didn't recognize. The club's side garden was partially lit by security lights, with an area of benches and a small decorative fountain. This is the recording from 8:45 p.m. The moment your daughter was cutting the traditional cake. I remembered it perfectly. Amanda beaming, Derek beside her, both smiling for the cameras as they cut the 3-tier cake that had cost $800. Now look at the upper right corner of the screen. Kevin pointed to a shaded area near the fountain. 2 figures emerged from the shadows. Even with the nighttime quality of the recording, it was impossible not to recognize Derek. He was wearing the same navy blue tuxedo I had helped him choose 3 months earlier. The woman next to him was a redhead, wearing an emerald green dress that I didn't recognize from the guest list. She wasn't among the 400 guests we had carefully selected and paid for. She wasn't on the official list, I confirmed aloud. Exactly. I checked 3 times. This woman doesn't appear in any attendance records, no official photos from the party, nothing. Except in these recordings. Kevin fast-forwarded the image. Derek and the woman were talking intensely, their faces close together. It wasn't a casual conversation between acquaintances. Their body language screamed intimacy. Keep watching. Derek looked around, checking to see if they were alone, then pulled the woman closer to the fountain, where the lighting was even dimmer. What happened next made my blood run cold. They kissed. Not a social greeting or a moment of impulsive weakness. A deep, lingering kiss between people who knew each other very well. His hands moved across the back of her dress with obvious familiarity. How long did this last? I asked, my voice coming out hoarser than I intended. 7 minutes and 32 seconds. And it wasn't the only time. Kevin paused the video and opened another file. This one is from 9:15. The moment your daughter was dancing the waltz with you. Another scene, same location. Derek again with the mysterious woman. This time, they were sitting on the bench near the fountain, her leaning against his chest, both laughing softly at something he whispered in her ear. And there's more. A third file. 10:20 in the evening. The moment when Amanda had thrown the bouquet to her single friends. While my daughter celebrated her happiness in the main hall, Derek was in the side garden whispering promises in another woman's ear. I managed to capture fragments of the audio, Kevin said, adjusting the controls on the equipment. The quality isn't perfect, but you can understand some things. Derek's voice emerged from the speakers, distorted but understandable. Just 2 more months, I promise. After the adjustment period, I'll file for divorce and we'll be free. My vision darkened at the edges. Adjustment period. Planned divorce. Derek wasn't just cheating on Amanda at their own wedding party. He had married her knowing he would end it all in a few months. Is there more? I asked, even though part of me didn't want to know. Unfortunately, yes. Her response was clear. The female voice, with an accent I couldn't identify. Are you sure she doesn't suspect anything? What about the money from the gifts? Amanda doesn't suspect anything. And the gifts? We got $73,000 in cash and checks. When I file for divorce on grounds of incompatibility, half of it is legally mine under Arizona law. $73,000. I remembered the envelopes being handed over at the gift table. Close family friends, business associates, distant relatives. All celebrating what they thought was the beginning of a happy new life for Amanda. Derek was turning my daughter's wedding into a money laundering operation. Kevin, I said slowly, I need copies of all this. I've already prepared them. 3 flash drives with all the recordings, timestamps, separate audio files. Everything neatly documented. He opened a drawer and took out a brown envelope. Mr. Reynolds, I wanted to delete these recordings and pretend I never saw anything. It would be easier for everyone. But, he paused, staring at the frozen monitor image of Derek kissing the mysterious woman. Your daughter deserves to know the truth. I took the envelope, feeling the weight of the evidence in my hands. How much do I owe you for the extra work? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This wasn't work, it was a moral obligation. I drove home in silence, the envelope on the passenger seat like a ticking time bomb. $73,000 in wedding gifts. A divorce planned for 2 months after the ceremony. A mistress wearing a wedding ring, suggesting she was also cheating on someone. Derek Mitchell wasn't just an unfaithful husband. He was a criminal executing an elaborate scam against my family. When I got home, I found a message from Amanda on the answering machine. Her cheerful, excited voice cut through my heart like glass. "Hi, Dad. Derek and I are hosting a barbecue on Saturday to thank everyone for the wedding. Can you come? We want to celebrate our new life together." Our new life together. The words echoed in my mind as I held the envelope containing the evidence of the orchestrated betrayal. Derek had calculated everything: the timing, the gifts, the performance during the party, even the legal deadline for the divorce. He had studied my daughter like a predator studies its prey. But Derek Mitchell had made one fatal mistake: he completely underestimated who he was dealing with. Because I wasn't just Amanda's father. I was Joseph Reynolds, a man who had built a construction empire from scratch, facing dishonest competitors, fraudulent clients, and treacherous partners for 40 years. And now, finally, I had all the evidence I needed to show Derek Mitchell how a true predator operated. I spent the entire night watching the recordings over and over. Every detail cut me like glass. Derek checking his watch during the kiss, calculating how long he could stay away without arousing suspicion. The red-haired woman adjusting her wedding ring before walking away. His satisfied smile as he returned to the hall, embracing Amanda as if nothing had happened. $73,000. The phrase echoed in my mind. Derek had turned my daughter's wedding into an elaborate robbery, and I had financed every penny of it. On Thursday morning, my phone rang. "Amanda. Dad. Did you get my message about the barbecue?" Her cheerful voice broke my heart. How could I tell my daughter that the man she loved was a calculating predator? "I got it, honey. What time?" "Saturday at 2. Derek is excited to personally thank everyone who made our day special. He said he wants to start our married life by honoring the people who supported us." Honoring the people who supported us. The words were like acid. "Amanda, can I ask you something? How are your finances?" Silence. Then a forced laugh. "Why are you asking?" "Everything's fine, Dad. Derek is taking care of everything." "What about the wedding gifts?" Derek deposited everything into a special account he created. He said it's better that way, more organized. "Why?" My hand tightened around the phone. Derek had cut Amanda off from her own gift money. "Just curious. See you on Saturday." 2 hours later, my youngest son Tyler showed up at my office. 26 years old, a business degree, but no steady job for 8 months. He was living in my basement, temporarily. "Dad, I need a favor." No greeting, no question about my day. Straight to the point. "My girlfriend Stephanie and I want to rent an apartment together. We found the perfect place, but we need $5,000 for the down payment and deposit." I looked at my son. When was the last time he had asked about my work, my health, my life? When was the last time any of my children had shown genuine interest in me as a person, not as a source of money? "Tyler, have you been working?" "I'm doing some freelance work, networking. The market is tough." Networking. 8 months of networking. What if I say no? He looked genuinely surprised, as if the possibility had never occurred to him. "Dad, it's only $5,000. You spent $58,000 on Amanda's wedding. You have the money." Only $5,000. As if it were an insignificant amount. As if my 40 years of hard work had resulted in an infinite bank account at the disposal of my family's whims. "Let me think about it." Tyler frowned. "Think about what?" "It's a simple request. Stephanie has already told her parents that we're getting the apartment." After Tyler left, I sat in my executive chair and looked out the 20th floor window. Phoenix stretched out before me, a city I had helped build with my own hands. My company, Reynolds Construction, was respected and successful. But within my own family, I was seen as nothing more than a bank. On Friday, my middle daughter, Jessica, called. 32 years old, divorced for 2 years, living in an apartment I helped pay for. "Dad, the car broke down again. The mechanic said it will cost $3,500 to fix. Can you help me out?" I can't be without a car with the kids. 3,500. Always large amounts, always urgent, always presented as basic necessities. Jessica, how many times have we repaired this car in the last 2 years? I don't know. A few times. Dad, I need the car to work. A few times was $7,200 in repairs over the last 24 months. I had kept all the receipts. What if it's time for you to buy a newer car? With what money? You know things have been tight since the divorce. The divorce that had resulted in her receiving half of her ex-husband's assets, including an amount she had invested poorly and lost in just 6 months. Jessica, do you have a job? Silence. Then a bitter laugh. Dad, taking care of 2 kids is a full-time job. When they're older, then I can think about working outside the home. The 2 kids were 12 and 14. They were in full-time school and spent 3 days a week with their father. I hung up the phone with a strange feeling in my chest. It was as if I were seeing my family clearly for the first time in years. Derek stealing Amanda through a fraudulent marriage. Tyler living in my basement for 8 months, networking while asking for $5,000. Jessica with her ever-changing narrative about why she couldn't work, but always with her hand out for more money. And me, Joseph Reynolds, the silent provider who financed them all without question. On Saturday, I arrived at Amanda's house promptly at 2 o'clock. The house Derek had insisted on renting in the most expensive neighborhood in Scottsdale, obviously beyond his means, but not mine. Derek greeted me at the door with a broad smile and a warm hug. Joseph. How are you, father-in-law? Father-in-law. The word made my stomach churn. Fine, Derek. How was the honeymoon? Amazing. Amanda picked the perfect places in Hawaii. We had the best week of our lives. The honeymoon that had cost an additional $12,000 because Amanda had found a special package she couldn't pass up. Amanda appeared from the kitchen, beaming. Dad. I'm so glad you came. Derek was saying he wants to do this every month, a family lunch. Derek wants to do this every month. More opportunities for him to play the perfect son-in-law while planning how to divorce my daughter in 60 days. That sounds wonderful, I replied, forcing a smile. During the barbecue, I watched Derek carefully. Every gesture, every word, every smile. He was good. Very good. He touched Amanda at just the right moments, laughed at the right jokes, asked about my company with convincing feigned interest. Joseph, I've been thinking, Derek said as he flipped the burgers. Amanda and I want to buy a house soon. Invest in something of our own, you know? We have our eyes on a beautiful property, but it's a little above what we've saved so far. Here it was. The second act of the scam. Interesting. How much does it cost? $450,000. It's a dream house, really. And with my promotion at the bank coming up. Amanda perked up. Dad, you have to see this house. It has 4 bedrooms, a pool, mountain views. It's perfect for when we have kids. When we have kids. Derek planned to be divorced from her in 2 months, but he was talking about future children with her. And what would the down payment be? $90,000, Derek replied casually. I know it's a lot, but it would be an incredible investment. Appreciation in this area is guaranteed. $90,000. He wanted me to finance a house that he would split 50-50 with Amanda in the fraudulent divorce. Let me think about it, I replied. Derek smiled. Sure. No rush. It's a big decision. No rush, but Amanda was already talking about decorating the rooms. I left Amanda's house that afternoon with crystal clear clarity. It wasn't just Derek. It was a systematic pattern. Amanda needing money for her dream house. Tyler needing $5,000 for his apartment. Jessica needing $3,500 for her car. Each of them had found a different way to turn me into their personal source of financing. But Derek was the worst of them all. He wasn't just stealing money, he was destroying my daughter in the process. I got home, went straight up to my office, and locked the door. I took the envelope with Kevin's evidence and spread it out on my desk. Photographs. Timestamps. Audio. Irrefutable evidence that Derek had cheated on Amanda during their own wedding, while planning a strategic divorce to steal half the money from the gifts. For 40 years, I had built my company by being meticulous, strategic, patient. I had faced dishonest competitors, fraudulent customers, lying suppliers. Always with the same approach: gather evidence, plan carefully, execute with precision. Derek Mitchell had made a fatal mistake. He thought he was dealing with a naive and generous father. He was wrong. He was dealing with Joseph Reynolds, a man who had spent 4 decades building an empire through meticulous planning and relentless execution. And now, for the first time in years, I had a personal project that deserved my full attention and expertise. Derek wanted to play a game of manipulation and fraud. Perfect. I had invented that game. I picked up a notepad and started writing. Project Derek Mitchell, at the top of the page. Below, 3 columns: evidence, resources, timeline. It was time to show this arrogant young man how a true predator operated. And when I was done with him, Derek Mitchell would understand that he had chosen the wrong family to try to destroy. The following Monday, I called my personal attorney, Richard Steinberg. 40 years of business partnership had taught me that good battles start with solid legal foundations. Richard, I need a private consultation today. Delicate family matter. An hour later, I was in his office in downtown Phoenix, Kevin's evidence spread out on the mahogany table. Richard watched the videos 3 times, listened to the audio recordings, examined the metadata. Joseph, this is criminal evidence. Marital fraud, misappropriation of gifts given in good faith. Derek Mitchell could face up to 5 years in prison. I don't want criminal proceedings yet. I want something more educational. Richard had known me for decades. He knew that when I talked about education, I was planning something meticulous and devastating. What do you have in mind? First, I want a private investigator tracking Derek and the mysterious woman. I need to know who she is, how long the relationship has been going on, if there are other schemes in progress. Second, I want a complete audit of Derek's finances. Every account, every investment, every debt. If he's planning a strategic divorce, I need to know exactly what he's hiding. Richard took notes. And third, I smiled for the first time in days. Third, I want you to prepare divorce papers for emotional abandonment and fraud. Amanda is going to sue Derek before he even has a chance to sue her. That's risky, Joseph. Amanda may not want a divorce. She will when she sees the evidence. Richard closed his notepad. How much time do we have? Derek plans to file for divorce in 60 days. We have 6 weeks to completely destroy his strategy. I left Richard's office with a detailed timeline. Phase 1, thorough investigation. Phase 2, gathering financial evidence. Phase 3, strategic confrontation. On Tuesday, I received the first call from Marcus Webb, the private investigator Richard had recommended. Mr. Reynolds, I have preliminary information about your son-in-law. Go ahead. Derek Mitchell isn't exactly who he says he is. The last name is real, but he legally changed his first name 8 years ago. He was born Derek Thompson and changed it to Derek Mitchell when he moved to Arizona. Interesting. Why would someone change their name to move to another state? Go on. The red-headed woman is named Vanessa Hartley. 42 years old, married to a plastic surgeon in Tucson. They've known each other for at least 3 years. I have photos of her entering Derek's apartment regularly on Wednesdays and Fridays. Apartment. Derek had an apartment in addition to the house he shared with Amanda. Address. Marcus gave me a location in downtown Scottsdale. Luxury apartment, rent of $3,200 a month. Well above what Derek's declared salary could afford. One more thing, Mr. Reynolds. Derek has 2 other active identities. Credit cards, bank accounts, even a driver's license in the name of Daniel Morrison. Multiple identities. Derek Mitchell wasn't just an unfaithful husband. He was a professional criminal. On Wednesday, Marcus sent me a 20-page report. Derek had operated similar schemes in Nevada and California. Marrying women from wealthy families, collecting gifts and inheritances, strategic divorces after specific periods. Amanda was the 4th known victim. The previous 3 had lost between $50,000 and $120,000 each. One of them had attempted suicide after discovering that the entire marriage had been a sham. Reading those reports, I felt a cold, calculated anger that I hadn't experienced in decades. Derek wasn't just an opportunist. He was a predator who systematically destroyed families. On Thursday, Amanda called. "Dad," Derek said, "you're still thinking about the house. Can we schedule lunch to talk?" If you're following this devastating investigation, subscribe to the channel because the revenge that is coming will redefine the concept of family justice. "Sure, honey. How about Saturday?" "Perfect." Derek is excited to show you the numbers. He has prepared a complete presentation on the investment. A presentation. Derek had prepared a presentation to convince me to finance the house he planned to share with Amanda in the fraudulent divorce. The level of arrogance was impressive. On Friday, I received Derek's complete financial report. 3 secret bank accounts. Dozens of credit cards under different names. An investment portfolio fueled by money from previous marriages. Actual net worth, $240,000. Much more than the few thousand he had claimed to have when he proposed to Amanda. More importantly, Derek had already put the dream house in his name. The contract had been signed a week ago, even before he talked to me about financing. He was sure I would pay. Saturday arrived. I drove to the restaurant where Derek had booked our lunch. An expensive place in Paradise Valley, obviously chosen to impress me. Derek was waiting at a reserved table, impeccable suit, leather briefcase at his side. He stood up when he saw me, broad smile, warm hug. "Joseph. How are you, father-in-law?" "Amanda is parking." Same old show. The perfect son-in-law. Amanda arrived 5 minutes later, radiant as always. She kissed my cheek, sat down next to Derek, and took his hand. "Dad, Derek has prepared an incredible presentation about the house. It really is the perfect investment." Derek opened his briefcase and took out a 15-page presentation printed on premium paper. Photos of the house, financial projections, market analysis. "Joseph, this property is a unique opportunity. Guaranteed appreciation of 15% per year over the next 5 years." I leafed through the presentation slowly. Each page carefully crafted to convince me that $90,000 was an investment, not a gift. Impressive work, Derek. Thanks. I spent weeks researching. I want to make sure it's good for all of us. Good for all of us. Including the red-haired woman who visited his secret apartment twice a week. I have a few questions. Derek perked up. Sure. Ask me anything. First question, why did you change your name from Derek Thompson to Derek Mitchell 8 years ago? Derek's smile froze. Amanda frowned. What are you talking about, Dad? Derek quickly recovered. Oh, that. Old family issues. I'd rather not go into details, but it was a necessary personal decision. Second question, who is Vanessa Hartley? This time, Derek couldn't hide his reaction. His face visibly paled. Amanda looked between us. Dad, who is Vanessa Hartley? Derek, do you know this person? Derek forced a laugh. I have no idea who she is. Joseph, what are you getting at? I took my phone and opened the first photo Marcus had sent me. Derek kissing Vanessa in the garden during the wedding party. I placed the phone on the table, facing Amanda. Honey, this photo was taken during your wedding reception. At 8:45 p.m., while you were cutting the cake. Amanda picked up the phone and looked at the image. Her expression gradually changed from confusion to horror. Derek, what is this? Derek tried to grab the phone, but I was faster. Third question, Derek, how much money do you really have in secret accounts under your aliases? Amanda was shaking now. Aliases? Derek, what is my father talking about? Derek stood up abruptly. This is ridiculous. Joseph, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but I won't tolerate unfounded accusations. I took Derek's briefcase and calmly closed it. These aren't accusations, Derek. They're documented facts. And you just made the mistake of assuming I was just a naive father with easy money. Derek looked around the restaurant, realizing that our conversation was attracting attention. Amanda, let's go. Your father obviously has issues we can't resolve here. But Amanda didn't move. She was still looking at the photo on my phone. Derek, tell me the truth. Who is this woman? The silence stretched on for 15 seconds. Derek realized he had lost control of the situation. "Amanda, I can explain." "Then explain." Derek looked at me, then at her, then at the exit. He was calculating whether he could still save the operation, or if it was time to run. I could see the gears turning in his mind. How much did Amanda know? How much did I know? How much could he still deny? The predator had finally found prey that could fight back. And the hunt was just beginning. Derek tried to get up from the table again, but Amanda pulled his arm back down. "Sit. Now. And explain to me who this woman is." Her voice had a coldness I had never heard before. My daughter was discovering in real time that she had married a stranger. Derek looked around the restaurant, calculating his options. He could lie, he could run away, or he could try to minimize the damage. He chose the worst possible strategy. "Amanda, this photo may have been manipulated. Your father clearly has issues with our relationship." I took my phone back and opened the folder Marcus had sent me. "Derek, or should I say Daniel Morrison? Or do you prefer Derek Thompson, your original name?" The silence at the table was deafening. Amanda looked between us, trying to process the information. "Dad, what are you talking about?" "Your daughter deserves to know the whole truth, Derek." I turned the phone toward Amanda. "This is the report from the private investigator I hired. Your husband has 3 different identities, for previous marriages in other states, and a history of matrimonial fraud." Derek finally abandoned the performance. His face hardened, revealing the person hiding behind the mask of the perfect son-in-law. "You had no right to investigate my private life." "I had every right when I found out you were planning to steal my daughter." Amanda was reading the report on my phone, her expression gradually changing from confusion to horror. "Derek, this says you married a woman in Las Vegas 2 years ago, and that you never officially divorced." Derek tried to grab the phone, but I pushed him away. "Does that mean our marriage isn't even legal?" "Amanda, I can explain all of this." "Then explain." Her voice was shaking now. "Explain why there's an apartment in Scottsdale in your name that I never knew existed." Derek paled. He didn't know I'd discovered the secret apartment. "How did you?" "Explain why you have $240,000 in secret bank accounts when you told me you only had a little savings." Amanda was reading more details from the report, her voice rising. "Explain why the house we want to buy has been in your name for a week, even before you asked my father for the money." Derek looked at me with pure hatred. "You stuck-up old man. You ruined everything." "I ruined it?" I leaned forward. "Derek, you married my daughter under a false name, cheated on her at her own wedding party, planned to steal $73,000 in gifts, and you still have the audacity to accuse me?" Amanda was shaking now. "The gifts." "Derek, where is the money from the gifts?" Derek didn't answer. I took another document from the folder and placed it on the table. "It's here, Amanda. 3 different bank accounts. One in the name of Derek Mitchell, another in the name of Daniel Morrison, and a third in the name of a shell company he created." "Shell company?" "Mitchell Holdings, LLC. Created 3 days before the wedding. All the gift money was deposited into this account, to which you have no access." Amanda looked at Derek with a mixture of betrayal and disbelief. You planned this from the beginning?" "Amanda, listen to me. I love you. You love my money." She slammed her hand on the table. "My father spent $58,000 on our wedding, our friends gave $73,000 in gifts, and you turned it all into a scam." Derek tried one last card. "Joseph is lying. He fabricated this evidence because he never accepted me into the family." That's when I played my final card. "Amanda, do you want to see the full video of your wedding party?" "What video?" I opened the file Kevin had given me and placed the phone on the table between us. "This video shows your husband with Vanessa Hartley throughout your party. Not just one encounter, but multiple encounters. While you were dancing with our guests, he was in the garden planning his divorce with his mistress." I pressed play. The video showed Derek and Vanessa at 3 different moments during the party, kissing, talking intimately, making plans. Amanda watched in silence. When she got to the part of the audio where Derek promised just 2 more months before the divorce, she paused the video. 2 months. Her voice was broken. You were going to wait 2 months. Derek tried one last desperate lie. Amanda, I can explain. She's an old friend. She was going through marital problems and needed support. Support? You were kissing her while I was cutting our wedding cake. People at nearby tables began to stare. Amanda's voice was too loud to ignore. Derek realized he had completely lost control of the situation. Okay. He raised his hands. Yes, I have a relationship with Vanessa. Yes, our marriage was temporary. But you don't understand, Amanda. You're rich, privileged. You've never had to fight for anything in your life. So you decided to punish me for that by stealing my family? I didn't steal anything. I took advantage of opportunities you freely offered. The coldness in Derek's voice was now completely exposed. There was no more performance, no more charm. Just a criminal justifying his crimes. Opportunities. Amanda stood up. You called our marriage an opportunity? Amanda, people like you always end up well. You have money, you have connections. People like me have to be creative. That's when I handed him the last document. Derek, this is an arrest warrant. Bigamy is a federal crime. Marriage fraud is a state crime. And misappropriation of wedding gifts is grand theft. Derek looked at the document and his face drained of color. You reported me? I protected my family. At that moment, 2 men in suits approached our table. I recognized one of them. It was Agent Parker, whom Richard had introduced me to at the FBI. Derek Mitchell, also known as Daniel Morrison and Derek Thompson, you're under arrest. Derek looked around desperately, like a cornered animal. Amanda, you won't let this happen. You love me. Amanda looked at him with a coldness that made me proud. I loved Derek Mitchell. But Derek Mitchell never existed, did he? As Agent Parker read Derek his rights, he looked at me with pure hatred. You think you've won, Joseph? You destroyed your own daughter in the process. I looked at Amanda. She was pale, but standing. Strong. Surviving. My daughter is stronger than you ever imagined. And now she knows exactly who you are. Derek was handcuffed and escorted out of the restaurant. The people at the other tables watched in silence. Amanda sat down slowly. Dad, how did you find out? The videographer called 3 days ago. He saw something in the recordings and thought I should know. And you investigated all this in 3 days? 40 years of building a company has taught me to be thorough when something important is at stake. Amanda began to cry. Not tears of sadness, but of relief. Dad, I'm so sorry. I was so blind. You did nothing wrong, sweetheart. Derek is a professional predator. He knew exactly how to manipulate you. What do I do now? Everyone will know my marriage was a sham. I took her hand. Now you rebuild. And I'll be here to help. Not with money or gifts, but as your father. As I always should have been. Sitting in that restaurant, with the wreckage of Derek's scam scattered on the table between us, I finally saw my daughter clearly. Not as a victim or a financial liability, but as a strong woman who had survived a predator and would emerge even stronger. Derek Mitchell had tried to destroy my family to profit from our generosity. Instead, he had given us something far more valuable, the opportunity to truly know each other, without the distractions of money and artificial obligations. When we left the restaurant that afternoon, Amanda held my arm tightly. Dad, there's one more thing I need to tell you. My stomach clenched. What else could there be? Tyler and Jessica have also been in contact with Derek over the past few weeks. He was trying to get information about your businesses, your bank accounts. The revelation hit me like a hammer. Derek wasn't just stealing from Amanda. He was studying our entire family, planning a scam much bigger than I had imagined. And Tyler and Jessica, my other children, had been helping him without knowing it. Or worse, knowing exactly what they were doing. 6 months later, Derek was sentenced to 8 years in prison for bigamy, marriage fraud, and embezzlement. Vanessa Hartley was also arrested as an accomplice, losing everything in the divorce proceedings with the surgeon. Amanda recovered $62,000 from the gifts through legal proceedings. But more important than the money was her transformation. My daughter, who had been a naive victim, emerged as a strong and independent woman. "Dad, thank you for not letting me live a lie," she said during our weekly lunch, a tradition we created after the incident. "I know it was hard to show me that evidence." The truth about Tyler and Jessica proved even more painful. Through our investigations, we discovered that Derek had offered them $15,000 each in exchange for information about my business and bank accounts. They accepted, thinking they were just helping their brother-in-law plan financial surprises for Amanda. Tyler changed completely after discovering how he had been manipulated. He got a job at a marketing company and, for the first time in years, stopped asking for money. Now he asks me about my day, my health, my plans. Jessica also transformed. She enrolled in a night accounting course and started working part-time. "Dad, I want you to be proud of me for who I am, not for the money you give me," she said. The most surprising thing was discovering that Derek had been targeting our family for over a year, studying our habits through social media, chance encounters, and information that Tyler and Jessica unknowingly shared. But his arrogance was his downfall. Derek completely underestimated a man who had built an empire through meticulous planning and relentless execution. Today, my company is stronger than ever. My children and I have genuine relationships based on mutual love and respect, not financial transactions. Amanda has found a wonderful man who loves her for who she is, not for the size of the family's bank account. Videographer Kevin has become a close friend. His courage in calling me saved my family from much greater destruction. He now documents corporate events for my company. Derek tried to destroy our family to profit from our generosity. Instead, he gave us the most valuable gift, the opportunity to truly know each other and build authentic relationships. The real victory wasn't seeing him in prison. It was discovering that my children loved me enough to change when they realized how much they had hurt me. It was understanding that being a good father meant setting boundaries, not just opening my wallet. If this story of betrayal, investigation, and family redemption has touched you, subscribe to the channel and share your own experiences with people who have tried to manipulate your generosity in the comments. I have learned that predators like Derek exist everywhere, but strong families can weather any storm when they choose truth over convenience. Today, at 66, I finally understand the difference between being loved for what you have and being loved for who you are. And that lesson is priceless. Derek thought he had found a family of easy victims. Instead, he found people willing to fight for the truth and emerge stronger than they ever imagined possible.